Beestream. I would actually intended to start this stream right next to the beehive, but we're having some issues with streaming in that my laptop doesn't have the strength to stream all the way from the beehive, so I'm gonna have to do this in two sections. So I'm just putting my gloves on now, and we'll pick up the smoker on the way to the beehive. And I've got another laptop here which will hopefully be allowing me to see what you guys see. Fingers crossed that this stream doesn't kaput on itself. Okay, I've got the smoker here, and looks like it's gone out actually. Oh dear. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me very well, I'm Selfie. If you've come in from the Owl's Well blogs, you might know me as ABC. And just getting the matches because our smoker has gone out. We're using paperbark here in the smoker, which actually comes from a paperbark tree I got on the property. Oh, there we go. Got a good fire going. Paperbark makes a really lovely sort of white smoke. Which is really good for getting rid of that bee's alarm scent that they have, because bees make an alarm pheromone and that's what we want to avoid them doing. So we're just getting a good smoke going here. You want a good thick white smoke, and want to light it from the bottom so you've got a good fire going as well in there. Got enough bark in there. I've got an American style smoker which we bought from Penda's Beekeeping Supplies. So sorry about the jankiness. I'm pretty much filming this from an iPhone strapped to my chest. So these are our ladies. This is the Valhalla Hive NL340, and our ladies here are called the Valka bees. But for the most part, their names are all Debbie, because Deb's G bought these bees. So all the female bees are named Debbie, and all the male bees are named John. Oh, goodness. And okay, so hopefully things can be seen properly, because it turns out the laptop I brought outside seems to have jammed. Laptop all blind, which means I won't be able to respond to anyone on chats, but this being the first, fingers crossed everything goes okay. The object of today's hive inspection, firstly, we're trying to see if the whole hive has been filled out. I've got, if you can see underneath this laptop, there's a second hive box. If all of the wax Valkyrie's hive have been filled out, then basically we can put the new box on, and if not, then we'll have to wait and see until it's been filled out and drawn. The other thing that we want to do is find the queen, just to see that she's laying properly. So we're going to look for brood and queen. Yep. I'm just going to the brick. We're going to give it light smoke. The object of the smoke isn't to chase the bees away, but really it's just to deaden the going on next to the hive, so that they don't come towards me. But the other reason is to I'm just going to crack the hive open here. Anywhere between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. is a good time if it's nice, warm, non-windy day to check out your bees, because most of them are out in the field collecting honey. So this here is a queen excluder, just stops the queen from getting into any of the other hive boxes. So it's like a little white netting. You can see that the normal workers, these ladies here who are the regular workers, can just fit right through there. But the queen herself is a little bit too fat and she's got a bigger abdomen. They're all checking me out now. So I'm just going to lift the excluder off the top and just pop them to the side over here, so they're not going to get hurt. Okay. Generally, so these are the two frames that I'm going to be checking to see if they're fully drawn out. But generally bees will work from the center outwards. So they'll start with their brood in the middle and then move outwards towards the sides. So they're a little bit annoyed with me, so I'm just going to give them another smoke. Okay ladies, just a little over the top. Yeah? So you leave me alone? Yeah. Okay, I don't know if we'll be able to find any drones today, just because I think the timing might not be right, but we'll see. So with the hive tool, I'm just going to crack, because the bees will glue these wood slats together on the frames with propolis. So you want to crack that off a little bit and then lift it. There you go. It looks like this one on the edge here hasn't even been touched at all. There's just like one bee checking it out, and they've chewed like a little bit like an exit hole in the corner up here, but it hasn't been drawn out, so it means that they're probably not ready to expand just yet. But we still have to find the queen just to make sure that the hive is laying well. Now she'll usually be in the middle here, so I'm just going to start from the frame right in the middle. Now I am very amateur as a beekeeper, so if any of you are like super expert beekeepers and I'm doing something wrong, you know, let me know in the chat or in the comments, and I'll try to correct my behavior. This is a very, very full frame right here. Go. Oh, sorry, excuse me. So this is what we call a brood frame. It's all dark. They've got pollen on the side, on the middle there, and you can see that there is some little cocoons in there. This is where the queen would be laying her eggs. And brood frames tend to be darker colored. I am darker colored than the rest of the wax, just because you've got like little dirty bee feet going across it all the time. But I am not really seeing Her Majesty on it, so I'm just going to move it back in. And you've got to be really careful to try not to drop the frames down, because I keep making that mistake. And try not to squish any of these ladies. But I am guilty of squishing them sometimes, because it's really not easy to crack these open and without squishing one or two each inspection, just because they always seem to know just the right timing to get underneath the frames when you're lifting them. I don't know if you can hear them humming, but they've got a really low sort of comfortable hum, and that's sort of like they're not really too upset with me right now. You can see that there's like a little baby bee. I don't know if you can see her, but she's just about trying to get out of her cocoon right now. So this frame looks like it's half honey and half brood hive, and I'm not seeing Her Majesty on this frame either. Now the queen bee is, oh, you can see a little dance at the bottom there going on. Remember, you can see there's like a little wiggle dance going there. She's wiggling her butt there, telling where there's food to be had. Now the queen bee that we have in this hive, she's extremely golden in color. Her abdomen is a very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous sort of yellow gold. Oh, I've disturbed them a little. Now if a bee gets squished, you basically end up with what we call alarm scent going off automatically. And that's just because they're super upset that you've hurt one of their sisters. So they're all swarming about now. Sorry, I just need to adjust the camera so you can see them, because I've kind of upset the hive a little. Excuse me? Now, bees are generally made, I've got them all over my hive too. They're generally designed to sting mammals, because mammals are the ones that eat their honey the most, as far as I've been told. So, I mean, I could well be wrong. So they get pretty antsy, and their barbs are designed to stick underneath our soft, furry skin. They're getting a little bit annoyed with me. Come on, ladies, out of the way. I only mean well. You'll excuse me? Excuse me. I can't get my finger underneath here if you're in the way, miss. Okay. I'm gonna lose my tool. Alright. I got it. So we can see this hive is quite healthy. We've got a lot of, I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of this comb is sort of lidded on top, which means that there's eggs and larvae inside, ready to go. Still not really seeing the queen on either side of this comb, but I'm not having a very good look. This is the first time I'm doing the beekeeping all solo, so usually my husband helps me have a good look at both sides of the frame, and it's kind of difficult for me to get to the other side easily. just have a quick squiz. It looks like she's not on this side either. Hopefully I haven't squished her. I don't think I have though. I haven't seen her on any of these frames, so she's unlikely to be underneath. Just gonna slot them back in. Very slowly sort of put them back. I almost always get my glove stuck underneath the frame when I'm putting it back. Can tell from the sound that they're getting a little bit annoyed with me. Come on, miss, off my finger, thank you. But they're not angry just yet. So I'm still good. Shoo shoo. This would be a lot easier if I had a frame lifter, which is like a little clamp that you can stick on the middle of the frame and just lift it right out. But we bought one recently and it just was awful and went twang. Now this is a very good example of quite healthy brood comb. You can see every single section of it is capped. Capped being like it's covered. There's like a little cocoon that you can see in the corner over there. So it's doing very well. But I am not seeing the queen on here either. Now the comb and the inside of the beehive needs to be kept at a constant, rather high temperature. So the bees work quite hard to keep that temperature just right for their babies. And now they're getting quite antsy. This black thing that you see here, that's a hive beetle trap, which hive beetles are a pest species. They love to eat honey and they basically are really good at destroying hives. So we don't have much of a hive beetle problem, but it's always safe to have a trap in. And the bees will automatically chase the beetles into this trap just to get rid of them. I fill the trap with oil, but you can fill it with diatomaceous earth and other things. The trap itself is not big enough for bees to go through, but it's just big enough for a hive beetle to fall in the cracks. You know what, I've lost count of which one I've done. Generally, it will be it's not too hard to find the queen if you know what to look for, because all the other bees get out of her way, and she's very differently shaped from her sisters in that she's quite a bit larger. She has a larger thorax, very circular thorax, very round. You can see here that they've started to draw out this bit of comb here. It's not fully drawn out, they're still working on it. Still a sort of a work in progress. But they've started to fill it with some honey. You can see the honey on the top there, which is capped, and then at the bottom you've got brood. The honey cells tend to be a little bit sort of longer in shape than the brood cells. And this is a very new brood comb because you've got, it's all bright yellow rather than that dark brown that you saw in the previous two combs. Oh, I made a mistake. I have dropped that piece of frame, and because I've dropped it, they're all really annoyed with me. Sorry, girls. Sorry, ladies. I'm just gonna poof a few poofs of smoke here just to get them off my back and to reduce the amount of alarm pheromone going around me. One of them's actually stung my glove. She was so cross that I knocked her over. So this higher pitched hum is the sound of bees being really annoyed. In case you wanted to know what that sounded like. Oh dear. But they're calming down. They usually calm down pretty quick. Okay, ladies, if you excuse me, I just need to put this trap right here. Shoo shoo. Yeah, okay. Yes, I know. I was really awful and I squished one of you by accident. Because I dropped the frame and that's on me. But we still gotta finish this inspection, so if you ladies would kindly shoo out of the way, we can get this over and done with, and I promise I will close it up after. And there won't be any more from me for another week. I promise. Oh, they are busy here. This is another one of the newer pieces of comb, and you can see it's all bright, sort of a bright yellow, and it's kind of that color because they've got pollen which they've put into the wax here, and that's sort of bee bread which they feed their youngsters, their young ones. So just have to make sure that they're just ready to get out of the way, please, ladies. I'm trying my absolute level best not to hurt any of you, but you are not making it easy by getting in the way. Here we go. They are trying their level best to sting the heck out of me. So I know we haven't found the queen, but I might have to just end it early here because they're quite cross. So I will just put this beetle trap back in here, and then we'll call it quits. Okay, ladies? Yeah, that's fine. I know. Life is really tough when you're a bee. And I'm very sorry for squishing some of you when I dropped the Hive frame on you, okay? Gotta budge this frame over because there's not enough space. Very slowly put that back in there. Alright, so that's basically what happens during a hive inspection. Normally, maybe with a lot less stinging and getting annoyed with me. I was very clumsy today, so sorry about that, girls. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'm just gonna put this queen excluder back on and then put the lid back on and walk back to the house and answer any questions you guys have in chat, or you know, complaints, etc, etc. Alright, please, back in, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's better. Ah! Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. And I'll put the brick back on too. Oof. Yeah, so that's pretty much all from me. We're sorry about the jankiness of the video. But yeah, beekeeping, Beestream. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Alright, take care. Bye.